Hey there, it's Grant with Elru Bike, and today I'd like to talk about why, after 10 years of riding flat pedals on my mountain bike, have I decided to make the switch to clip-in or clipless pedals. So, before we get into that, let me kind of set the scene just a little bit. I have ridden the same bike, this Pivot Mach 6, for almost 10 years now, and that entire time I have ridden the flat pedals with the sticky type of shoes on it. Loved it. It's the perfect match for that sort of a bike. Recently, about 2 months ago, I upgraded, finally bit the bullet and purchased a new bike, and I moved from a longer travel, sort of an enduro bike, to a shorter travel trail bike. This particular guy is the Pivot Trail 429. When I first bought it, of course, I threw on flat pedals, used my same old grippy shoes that I had always used, and I went out for a ride. There seemed to be something that was a little bit off about it for whatever reason. Maybe it was the new pedals, maybe it was the bike, maybe it was a combination of things. Something just didn't quite connect with this bike, the flat pedals and the sticky shoes. It felt like my feet were never quite in the right place. It felt like maybe I was losing and leaving some efficiency on the table. And that was one of the big reasons I had switched bikes from the longer travel enduro style to the more shorter travel trail style. I really wanted to improve and feel some gains on the uphill portions. That efficiency was really what I was after. And I just wasn't getting it with the flat pedal. Did I mention it's hot? It's really hot. It's frickin' 100 degrees. It's July something or other. I'm in the garage. There's no air conditioning. It's ridiculous. Anyway, back to where were we talking about? Oh yeah, so I did something crazy. I stole the clip-in pedals off my road bike and I put them on my new mountain bike. To be perfectly honest, I was a little, I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, I was a little apprehensive. I knew I should probably take it easy. I wasn't smart and practiced in the road or anything like that. I had gotten used to clipping in and out on my road bike, so I thought, what the heck. But at any rate, there was a group ride near me. I selected the easy group to go with just in case, and to be honest, it wasn't bad. In fact, there was almost a near crash right at the beginning because I wasn't paying attention and I was chatting, and I almost crashed right into a bridge. My fault, not the pedal's fault. But as we continued, and the wide fire road we were on turned into a single track, and we started ascending up this little tiny hill, I really started to feel that connection and that power. I mean, it was obvious right from the beginning that the connection that the clip-in style pedals gave me over the flat pedals, it was just super obvious from the beginning. But as soon as I really started to smooth out my pedal stroke and move up the hill, wow, it was a whole new game for me. We reached the top fairly quickly. I mean, there was only maybe less than 1,000 feet of climbing on this particular ride. I was with a couple of buddies and I asked them, hey, would you guys mind going first? I don't know how I'm gonna do on the downhill section. I got these new pedals. And before I could even finish, they were off. And of course, I just jumped in and followed them like I normally would, right? So everyone's cruising down the hill at their normal pace, and lo and behold, I can keep up with them. It's not that scary. I'm not falling over in the corners. I'm not all over the place like I thought I was. So that was a real pleasant surprise. After that ride, you know, I was totally willing to give this a few more shots. Again, it's super hot, so I'm gonna wrap this short, but let me jump back inside and I'm gonna show you the shoes, I'm gonna show you the pedals, and we'll wrap this up with my thoughts. Am I moving forward with it? And those sorts of things. Cool. So every weekend by my house, they have a drum circle. And at 4:20, for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure, they start playing drums. Actually, they play them all day, but it gets really loud at 4:20. Anyway, just remind me of that. Okay, what were we talking about? Shoes. Why? Why in the world have I gone from my trusty old grippy, sticky, flat bottom shoes, worn these for golly, 10 years at least. Did I move to these? Well, to be honest, it was all about the new bike. So there were a couple of things that probably helped me or encouraged me to make that transition. One, I had bought a new bike. The whole reason behind buying the new bike was I wanted something more efficient, something faster uphill, something I could really feel a lot more connected to. The other thing A couple of years ago, I also purchased a road bike, and I really love the feeling I get out of that road bike. I mean, you can really put the pedal to the metal. Every single bit that you put into those crank arms, you get right back in speed. So I think those couple of things combined kind of laid the foundation for me that said, you know what, it's probably okay to give this a shot. Always just... Hey, real quick, I'm editing the video. It just dawned on me, I might not have emphasized the importance of the why as much as I should have. For me, what really has enabled me to, at least up to this point, tolerate, you know, the clumsiness, the lack of confidence, the seemingly loss of skill and having to relearn how to orient and move myself with the bike and interact with the pedals and that sort of thing, and being willing to fall over and look silly and feel silly and potentially even be injured. Why I have tolerated all of that was it was simply due to the fact that I was super clear on what I was trying to accomplish. And for me, that was, I really wanted to gain that connectedness, that efficiency, that pedaling performance. I bought the bike with the specific intention of improving the pedaling and just the all-around efficiency that I was getting from my previous bike. So for me, it made total sense, and I was totally willing and still am willing to put up with that learning curve, that transitional period from being super comfortable on the flats to being not at all comfortable on the clipless pedals. So again, the why is super important. If you have the why and you're clear on the why, you're willing to tolerate those adjustment, we'll just call them the pain in the butt parts of adjusting from an entirely familiar system to something that's entirely new. So I recommend seriously not just doing this change, or really any major sort of a change, on a whim. Think about it. Why are you doing it? Are you willing to put up with it? And when it comes time to actually doing it, making that transition, time after time after time, you're going to have to make that decision. Am I going to continue to be willing to put up with the pain in the buttness in order to achieve the hoped for gains? So anyway, wanted to throw this in real quick. I'm gonna go back to editing this video. Anyway, thanks, bye. Am I enjoying it? Yes, these shoes, the efficiency and the connectedness are everything I had hoped for. And since switching to the pedals with the little bit bigger platform, I'm not a cross-country racer, so the little bit of extra, they probably weigh a few grams more. I have no idea, but it's totally worth it for me. That extra platform makes it super easy to find and to orient when I'm riding. Also, sometimes I don't always get clicked in, and when I'm going, especially if I'm going uphill, that really helps because I can keep pedaling and just keep making it through it until I actually get clicked in. It's not always perfect. So that's been a big help. Now that I finally got my shoes dialed in, this is my third pair, and I bought this particular style because I have a crazy wide foot. These sorts of regular shoes just have way more leeway in them, and to be honest, you really need to have a good fit with these, in my opinion and in my experience, in order to get the most out of it. The other shoes I had, they just were rubbing in weird spots, and it just wasn't cool. Aside from that, obviously I purchased the shoes. They were quite an investment, and I bought the pedals. Again, also quite an investment. I could have just kept riding the road stuff, but I really did want the bigger platform for the pedals that I ended up getting. And the shoes, they were like 12 years old, so it was really nice to upgrade to some new ones. So am I gonna go back to these flats? Not really any time in the future that I can see. I'm enjoying these. I still need to get a lot better at them. I'm going to wrap there. Thank you very much for sticking with me. If you enjoy this sort of thing, I'm going to make a whole series on buying the right kind of shoes, finding different shoe options for hard to fit feet. Should you go see a pro to have your cleats foot? I did. And if you choose to do it at home, I'll share with you what I learned. All that and more to come. Grant Elrube Bike, thank you so much. Have a great one. Bye.